check the sound on the phone, see if the sound is good on the phone. Yes, audio testing. Checking the sound, audio testing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Audio testing. Sound is good. Right, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to say Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem, Ba'adash. And the Heavenly Father, true name is Yahweh, and His only begotten Son, Ba'ashem, in the name of Hamashiach, Yahweh Shah. Those are the true names of the ancient Paleo Hebrew, the lost philosophy of the tongue, and I say Barak to the elders and apostles of Akim Akbar, and I say Shalom. And this is a sit-down lesson that wants to bring out all the latest of the earthquakes in diverse places as July 13, 2026 on this Monday afternoon. So I'm going to check out the latest from the earthquake.USGS.Gov. Check that out. Yeah, because I was trying to do a video recording. I don't know if the video recording was kind of tweaking, so I just went ahead and just do it on live stream instead. This had a total of 51 earthquakes was reported from July the 12th all the way to the 13th. And you had a 4.8 earthquake was reported in the south of the Loyal Islands. And I think that area had they had heavy aftershocks in that area of the southeast of the Loyal Islands. They had a 4.8 earthquake. And then it had actual 4 or 5 aftershocks and earthquakes over in that area. And then you had a 2.8 earthquake, 20 kilometers. That was southwest of Petra, California. And I think over there, the deeper part of Southern California, they got hit with a larger 4.2 earthquake. And I believe it was in that same area around that region day before yesterday, got hit with a 4.1 earthquake. So that lets you know that's an indicator that we're getting closer and closer to a larger earthquake over there in Southern California in the San Andreas area. And then you had a 4.0 earthquake was recorded in 215 kilometers, I would say, west and northwest Abu to Japan. And you had a 4.9 earthquake was recorded in the South Islands region. 5.1 earthquake was recorded. That was 5 kilometers southeast of Bantulu, Philippines. 4.5 earthquake in the southeast of the Loyal Islands, and the 4.7 earthquake in again the same area as the southeast of the Loyal Islands. And you had a 4.5 earthquake was reported in the southeast of the Loyal Islands, and you had a 4.3 earthquake that was 8. You had a 4.3 earthquake was reported that was 18 kilometers west and southwest of Jonesboro, California. 5.1 earthquake in the southwest Loyal Islands. 4.7 earthquake in the southeast of Loyal Islands. And then you had a magnitude of a 6.3 earthquake in the southeast Loyal Islands. So the largest one over there in the southeast Loyal Islands was a 6.3 earthquake, and then it had 6 aftershocks over the afterwards. And then you had that large 4.3 earthquake over there in California, the southern part. That was a day before yesterday. Got hit with 4.1 in that same region, I think, outside of Southern California. And then you got a 4.2 earthquake reported 35 kilometers in Kalamazoo, Pakistan. 2.5 earthquake reported in 0 kilometers west and southwest of Guanacaste, Puerto Rico. And another 2.5 in that same region, 0.0 kilometers east of Puerto Rico. And then you had a 4.8 earthquake southeast of Fuji Islands. 2.5 earthquake was reported 31 kilometers west and southwest of California. And then you had a 3.2 earthquake reported. It was 41 kilometers northwest of Toledo, Texas. 3.0 earthquake was recorded. That was 20 kilometers east southeast of Silver Springs in Nevada. So I think for the past couple of months over there, like the northern part of Nevada, they've been having a heavy increase in earthquakes over there for the past 2.5 months. You had a 2.7 earthquake reported in 36 kilometers southeast of Guanajuato, Puerto Rico. And then you had a large, then you had a large 6.4 earthquake, 191 kilometers southeast of Laredo, Papua New Guinea. 4.3 earthquake, 82 kilometers east of Krasnoyarsk of Russia. And I think that was the same area like last July, around this same time. It was like a 8.8 earthquake over there in the area. This ever since then, I would say from last July on to this July, have been having aftershocks in that area, in that third-type plain of that eastern part of Russia, in that area. And you had a 3.1 earthquake reported 63 kilometers northwest of Charlotte. I think that's the Virgin Islands. 4.9 earthquake reported southeast of Loyal Islands. And that's that same area got hit with a 6.3 earthquake. And they have like 7 aftershocks of an earthquake over there on island. And then there was another one that was a 5.1 earthquake over there southeast of the Loyal Islands. So those was a 5.4 earthquake was taking place over there in the Philippines. So yeah, those are the latest earthquakes. Some bring out some more scriptures. So we're going to be seeing these earthquakes in diverse places. This is the book of Luke 21 and verse 11. Yeah, it's the book of Luke 21 verse 11. It says, a great earthquake shall be in diverse places. Right, so just like those heavy earthquakes sit over there in the southeast Loyal Islands, you had 7 aftershocks of that 6.4 earthquake good over there in the southeast Loyal Islands over there. And then you had a 4.3 earthquake that took place over there in Southern California. And then you had a 6.4 earthquake over there in Papua New Guinea. So these are signs that our Lord Savior, Yahushua, spoke about, that was going to bring signs about earthquakes in diverse places. So that's what it takes to increase. And I'm read that again. This is Luke 21 verse 11 reads, it says, great earthquakes shall be in diverse places. Right, so great earthquakes are going to be in diverse places. It says, famines and pestilence and different sights of great signs shall be from heaven. Right, so more in particular about different sights of great signs shall be from heaven. And this is the book of bring out that Psalms 18 and verse 7. Yeah, it's the book of Psalms chapter 18 and verse 7. It says, then the earth shook and trembled, and the foundations also that it was moved and shaken plus rock. That's the great shaking from the heavenly Father, earth, especially with these earthquakes. So we'll see more signs of that. And this is the book of Isaiah chapter 29 verse 6, right? The prophet Isaiah speaking. It says, thou shalt be visited of Yahweh hosts, right? Which the heavenly Father, Yahweh hosts. It says, thou shalt be visited of Yahweh hosts with earthquake. And great news, storms, attempts, and coronavirus. Right, so the Heavenly Father is going to visit the earth with the earthquakes and storms, attempts, and coronavirus. So that's going to continue to increase. And the book of bring out that second address. We'll check out the apocryphal books. Yeah, I'm going to start at verse 1. And this is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 9, verse 1. It says, he answered me then said, as you got the time, limited and stuff without seals and marks and signs past I had told before. Right, as the prophet Ezra was mentioned, without seals and marks and signs, which I had told before. And that's watching out for these biblical signs that we said in our world's day, especially with these particular earthquakes that Heavenly Father, Yahweh was only got Yahushua spoke about. There's going to be signs of earthquakes in diverse places, wars, rumors, wars, nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom. 2nd Ezra, verse 2. It says, then thou shalt understand it was at the very same time where in the highest was the Heavenly Father, will begin to visit the war which made. And that's what the sin Heavenly Father visiting with the earthquakes and diverse places. This is only going to continue to increase. Second Ezra chapter 9, verse 3. It says, therefore, there should be saying earthquakes, upwards with the war. Right, so more particular earthquakes and upwards with the war. So that's only going to continue to increase. So this is just a quick sit-down lesson that I want to bring up the latest of the news updates of the earthquakes in diverse places as of July the 13th, 2026 on this Monday afternoon. So this is that praise to you say Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem Kardash, and the Heavenly Father, true name is Yahweh, and his only God Son. Bahashem and the Mashiach and Abishai. Those are the true names in the ancient Hebrew, Mashiach's tongue. And I said, Rocky Bum to the elders and apostles of what I give on my prophets. The next time I say, Queen Asherah and above all, Shalom.